Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Inferno cast, episode number 017. I, of course, am Inferno Fox. I am the head of the YouTube channel Inferno Fox Gaming, and you, of course, are with the Inferno cast. And you can catch us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube here, as well as Amazon Music and Spotify. And I and my team here are going to talk about a wonderful topic that is at least near and dear to my heart. And a lot of us here have had a lot of experience just due to how core it is to the whole video game, really video gaming in general. And that is Super Mario. And this is in celebration to Super Mario Wonder, which is, by the time of this recording, coming out this upcoming Friday, October 20th. But we're not going to be focusing too much specifically on Super Mario Wonder, because while it is a 2D game, we're going to be focusing on something that all of us here have common history with. And because all of us are old with 30 to 35 plus years of gaming history, you got almost 2 centuries worth right here on our Inferno cast. We're going to stick with probably the first 10 or 15 years of Mario. And even with that man, there's a lot of that history. But before we get into that, let me introduce our fantastic cast here. First, we have Jamie Owls. She is my partner in crime. And if you caught us on the Inferno Fox Gaming channel on YouTube, you will have caught our conversation about which 2D Mario that we each thought was the best. Spoiler alert, the correct answer is Super Mario World. Yep, that is Super Mario World is the best. That, of course, is what I think is the best. But we had a really good conversation while we were playing and dying at Super Mario World, so it was cool. Jamie Owls, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here. And side note, I don't die a whole lot in Mario.
No, that was me. I was the one that was dying a lot.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got Jason the 13th of the YouTube channel Jason the 13th. Jason, thank you so much for joining us. And you're doing a really good mime impersonation, so you're either muted or or silent. I'm reading lips, and you are pledging your ever-loving love for Astrimedes, so thank you for that.
Man, I remember my first computer.
Hey, there
I
we go.
remember my
All
first
right.
love.
Sorry about that. I'm back.
Yeah, excellent. Thanks for joining us, Jason.
Have show cards, Jason.
Somebody get the wrap up music.
Next up, we have Stormrosesky of Twitch and YouTube channels of Stormrosesky. Storm, thank you for joining us, but also tell us about the newest video you released on your YouTube channel.
So thank you for having me. I did just I got all tongue-tied on myself. I just uploaded a video yesterday, my top 5 favorite things to watch during spooky season. That was fun to create. So yeah, you'll have to check that out. I won't give them away because there are 5, but of course, one of my near and dear favorites got his first position, but that's also only because it was, chronologically in order. So it was number 1, but still number 1 anyway. So there you go.
Yeah, it's a really good list. Not all of it is totally scary. There are a couple childhood favorites, so I recommend checking that out. It was a good list. Astrimedes, thank you for joining us. You are the developer and co-owner of Second Place Games. What do you got coming down the pipeline?
I theoretically have a re-release of my game Horde Lord, which was unceremoniously dropped from the Google Play Store. But I'm doing things like this and working a day job, let's say. We'll leave it at that in terms of what my time's really doing. So I will be releasing that at some point. I did something crazy when I released that game in 2016 or so and priced it at $1. So I'll be re-releasing it for free in hopes of getting more than the 40 or so downloads I got at the dollar price point. So look for that when I manage to extricate myself from the current living hell that is my day job.
And when he says free, it's free to play. You fill up the screen. You can pay $1 for 100 gems.
No,
50 gems clears the screen, and
it will be the opposite of that. It will purely be because I do not want to be bothered with it, and I think it would be a waste to throw this game away, which, you know, has some merits and maybe doesn't have others. I'd rather release it for free, let people play it without worrying about if it's good enough to buy, and just see what happens.
And once Astrimedes releases that or re-releases it, we'll make sure to include a link in the description. So if you have an Android device with Google Play storefront, we'll make sure you can access that and download it. It is a really good game. I recommend doing so. And then last but not least, we have Simbu Darkfang. He is a main actor at Basement of the Dead. That again is Basement of the Dead, located in Aurora, Illinois. That's obviously part of the suburbs of Chicago and Chicagoland. So if you're in the area, make sure you check that out. They've got some really good programs going. And of course, Simbu is one of, if not the best player at Fortnite. Fight me on this. He's the best. You're not going to beat him. Simbu, thank you so much for joining us.
Wait, we're not talking about Spider-Man 2 coming out Friday? What the heck is going on here? I've been lied to. Somebody get my trailer. Get my agent on the phone.
Your agent is dead. He's dead from playing too much Spider-Man 2, which again releases this Friday for the PS5. And Metacritic rating of 91, which is apparently that's one of the best for Insomniac games. I think first or second only to Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal, if I'm hearing that right. But we're not here to talk about Spider-Man. We're not here to talk about Ratchet and Clank. We are here to talk about Super Mario. And to open the discussion, I'm just going to open with a wider question. Well, I said that the main topic, of course, is going to be about Mario games within the first 10 or 15 years of them releasing. I just want to know generally, what is your favorite Mario game? It can be mainline. It can be a spin-off. I already mentioned mine. I said Super Mario World. I know backsies. So now I'm going to pick on Stormrosesky. Storm, what is your favorite Mario game and why?
My favorite Mario game. Oh, that's going to be a toss-up between either Super Mario RPG, or honestly Mario Tennis, or Mario Kart. So those all three are non-traditional Mario platform type games, which I understand might make some people chuckle a little bit, but you know.
You mean the Virtua Boy Mario Tennis? Is that the Mario Tennis you're talking about?
No, Mario Tennis on the Nintendo Switch.
Oh, I thought the Virtua Boy Mario's Tennis was the definitive Mario Tennis game.
No, I've never played that one. So
surprisingly, I've never played it either.
But
I have actually. Probably the one the one Mario game I will have played that the rest of you have not.
Yep.
There are a lot of other Mario games that I've also not played. So, yeah. But those are my favorites. I don't want to disclose too much that I'm not as much of a Mario diehard as my fellow castmates here. So,
No, you're
Inferno Fox.
Given the amount of hours that you've gotten into both Mario Tennis and Mario Kart, you're
Yes.
right there. You're right there with us. I hate to say it. You're right there with us.
I do have a lot, and as soon as the new RPG comes out, well, that's going to take over quite a bit. And also Fridays, I'm considering getting the new game coming out Friday. So
yeah, it's obviously for me that's a day one purchase. I'm wondering how good that's going to be myself, but Astrimedes, why is Mario's Tennis for the Virtual Boy the most favorite Mario game you played? Show your man.
Because it was on the Virtual Boy, it uses a futuristic, there's only some red lines in your face 3D technology, and it created a very immersive experience.
I am freaking sold. I'm sold. All right. Thank you, Astrimedes. No, what really is your favorite Mario?
My actual favorite Mario game would probably be either mainline only, or this is any, right?
Yeah, any that you want.
Probably Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, which is probably one of the most recent ones I've played. And I had a lot of that. I found it surprisingly, as someone who doesn't have as much kind of like love in some respects for Mario, whatever, as the rest of the crew here, I found it to be just a really really good kind of fun RPG. And you could it was very deep tactically, and surprising amount of depth. They had kind of some nice infinite play mechanic stuff going on, just a surprisingly kind of like meaty, chunky kind of gamer sort of experience, more so than I would have expected going in.
They're remaking that for the Switch, right?
Yeah, I have heard this. Yep.
So you're getting a Switch is what I'm hearing. Okay.
I would love to, as soon as if any viewers want to buy me one and send it to me. My address is 123 Fake Street, Springfield, Illinois.
I would, but I still got to buy Simbu his Xbox. So. Jason, how about you? What is your favorite Mario game?
Ooh, Paper Mario is up there. I'm thinking Sunshine might have actually been one of my favorite, like top favorite ones.
You're weird.
Yeah, I know. A lot of people don't like that one as much, I know. But if I wanted to cheat, I would have to say the original Luigi's Mansion, That one is up there too.
Yeah, I mean, spin-offs are allowed, that it counts ish.
I just remember playing the crap load of Sunshine when it was out there. So
Simbu, how about you? What was your favorite Mario game that you played?
Well, Jason the 13th already said it. Luigi's Mansion.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
The original. Yep.
The original, yeah. But I did enjoy the second and third. So just Luigi's Mansion in general, because whole like horror theme, being a big Ghostbusters fan growing up. So, definitely love the whole running around with a vacuum cleaner and busting ghosts.
Yeah, it's for whatever reason I couldn't get into 3 enough to finish it out. Maybe it'll be something I'll jump back into, but that the third entry on the Switch is probably one of the best running and best looking Switch games, which kind of sounds odd because it's a Mario type of a base thing, but it is phenomenal. And even going back to 1 and 2, and like 1 for the GameCube, for that being like the first GameCube game, it ran well, it looked great.
Oh yeah.
Jamie Ellis, how about you? What is your favorite Mario game?
Oh, the one that comes to mind right away that is my favorite would be Mario 64. It's the first 3D Mario game, and it was my cousin who first owned it, and then he brought over his 64 with that game, and I remember we were playing it, and he let me borrow it, and I just had a lot of fun with that, and I still do. I just love the music, I love the worlds, the storyline. So it's Mario 64 for me.
Yeah, that is a good one. I think I'd be hard pressed to get pinned down to what I'd think is my favorite or best 3D Mario game, because I had a lot of recency bias with Super Mario Odyssey, but I replayed it and had like a year or so after replaying it. So I've played it through twice to like, okay, is it really as good as I originally thought or felt? And I'm like, I don't know. like another sleeper one is Super Mario 3D World that was originally on the Wii U and got ported to the Switch. That one is one of those that's like really underrated and just maybe that's competing for a top spot. And you're playing that right now, right, Jamie Ellis?
Yes, I am.
Very cool.
See, Inferno Fox, that is a key thing you said between favorite and best, because favorite is where Sunshine comes in. Best 64 is just classic and much better.
I loved making him swim.
Yeah.
Part of making Mario swim. Well, you know, exploring underwater worlds and all that is fun. So making Mario swim, you know, even and the Super Nintendo, that version of Mario is probably one of my favorites as well. So there you go. We'll get there.
And for those of you that are watching as well as listening, you're watching a very cute cat crawl on Astrimedes and me showing off my Super Mario shirt just for this occasion. So make sure you catch us on YouTube for the video. But again, audio is Apple Podcasts, Spotify, something, Samsung, Amazon Music, and everything. But yeah, probably favorite is Mario 64. The right answer for being the best is probably 3D World. Probably. I don't know. But we're talking about the more recent Mario games. We're going to kind of stick with the first 10 to 15 years because, again, celebrating the roots of Mario because of Super Mario Brothers Wonder, the newest 2D Mario game being released since the likes of the Wii U version of New Super Mario Brothers U. It of course was ported for the Nintendo Switch as New Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe, but Super Mario Brothers Wonder is really like a whole ground up production of 2D Mario to the likes of almost to the likes of how Super Mario World and Super Mario World 2 look and feel, up to and including controllable Yoshis. So one of the things with Mario, of course, is brief little history lesson. He premiered in the arcade cabinet Donkey Kong in 1981, except he was known as Jumpman. He got his actual name of Mario from the 1983 arcade game Mario Brothers, not to be confused with Super Mario Brothers, but Mario Brothers is also where Luigi was introduced for the first time. The Super Mario Brothers released in October 1985 here in the United States, and it of course is known for making waves, not only for just being a fantastic game and being really a pinnacle for its time, but also literally saving the video game market in the early to mid 80s for the US. Just a quick little caveat there, as Astrimedes gets mauled by a giant panther. One of the things is the video game market did not crash in Japan, and it was moving. Their equivalent of the NES, the Famicom, were actually released in 1983, but Mario there didn't release until 1985, though I think in like May or April of 85. But we in the States, that was one of the first games that released on the NES. And like I said, it really paved the way. Just, you know, I mean, controls, graphics for the time, again, 1985. How many of you guys have played the original Super Mario Brothers? Were you one of the 40 million copies that sold for the 60 million units sold NES?
That I played it. Oh yes. Whether I was counted before that tally, I don't remember.
I don't remember either. We
do.
own the
Played
game.
it, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Played it, yes, but never had a Nintendo.
I got one of the I got the package of the NES with the power pad. I remember at Toys R Us. Grandma got it for us, and it of course came with the original Mario Brothers.
Did that have the 3-in-1 Mario?
It did have the 3-in-1. Yeah.
See, ours only had the 2. I don't have
Mario and Duck Hunt.
Yep.
I think that's what we had too.
Yep,
they never had the track and field one.
Gosh,
it was not a good game.
No, because then you just go like
It's a
this
good-
on with your hands on the pad.
Inevitably, yeah, you get on your knees and you
And-
slap the buttons your feet are supposed to be
And
running on
that's
top of with
and
your
that's why
hand.
we have a topic all about Mario and not track and field.
Well, we've
Isn't
had
it
most
kinda
of the
funny?
discussion you can have about it now. so.
Yep.
I was gonna say one thing that I do find kind of funny is you bring that up with the collab things. Usually when there's 3 games on one cartridge or disc, one of them is always trash. Look at the orange box
Yep.
on the Xbox generation. Team Fortress, can't remember the third one, and God.
Yeah. I think
Mind blowing.
anytime you're
Now.
jamming multiple games on a thing one game
Yeah.
is supposed to
Half-Life.
be in, some are going to be garbage. Half-Life. There
Oh,
you go.
yeah.
I believe it was Half-Life 1 or Half-Life 2, Team Fortress, and then a third game.
I just did a quick Google. Half-Life 2, Portal, Team Fortress 2.
Yeah, so I forgot Portal was
Portal.
there, but it's funny because like you look at that, Half-Life 2 and Portal were the 2 main takeaways from that disc.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Portal. My sad guilty video game confession with that is that I've never played Portal. Portal
I've
1
never
or 2.
played Portal either. I
No?
am allergic to first person things though. So
I will say Portal is a lot of fun.
I've only heard like positive things about it. I really need to get into that. One of my favorite memories with Mario Brothers, though, and Storm, your husband will attest to this, was for our Uncle Benny's birthday. He got us the NES in May of '86 or May of '87, and I remember my 2 older brothers playing it and just watching them play Super Mario Brothers 1 and getting to like 1-4 like within the hour of first playing it. This like they knew how to really have the technical skill to be able to do so well at that at the ages of like 5 and 7. It's kind of funny. But
those little maps. Ugh. I love the first, the original Mario was pixelated little world.
Yeah.
But holy moly, were those wow. Yeah, those courses and those jumps. I have some spatial timing issues, I think, on viewing video games. So those always just messed with me, and I personally didn't get very far. So I like watching other people play it, like you yourself, their Inferno Fox. So there you go.
It's funny you say that because after the first entry release, the sequel, of course, for it, Super Mario Brothers 2 was literally the hard mode version of Super Mario Brothers 1.
Yeah.
They didn't change any of the graphics. You could only select between Mario and Luigi just jumps a little higher, but it has like super skid. And the level design is freaking troll. We in the States here, of course, know that as Lost Levels. We didn't get it until Super Mario All-Stars. But if you thought the first Mario Brothers was bad with that, then
oh yeah, Lost Levels was much harder.
I've never played that one, so that is good to know.
If you want to play it, you can play it in the Super Nintendo NSO pack, and it's under Super Mario All-Stars, and it's one of the 4 games, Lost Levels. Play it if you want to be pissed off, Storm. That's
yeah.
I'm not even freaking kidding.
I got to play it on the All-Star pack on the Wii. Yep.
And then they put it on Virtual Console on the Wii, and I got to play the original, and it's just as freaking hard. If you want to be mad, play that.
I love how y'all are saying Wii. I played it on the Wii. I played it on the Switch. I played it on Super Nintendo.
You did not play Lost Levels on Super Nintendo.
Yes, I did. Mario All-Stars came out on Super Nintendo. I played it on Super
Nintendo. Yeah, you're right. It did. Yeah, I did. I do remember playing All-Stars on Super Nintendo now that you say it.
Jason, I was going to say, I remember you owning Super Mario All-Stars.
Yeah. It totally
sure
slipped my mind. Totally
wait a minute, is this the real Jason the 13th, or has he been cloned? All right, we got to figure this out now. Somebody get out the beeper.
That's a demerit.
Beeper.
so we in the States, of course, got our version of Super Mario Brothers 2 had both Toad and Princess Toadstool as additional playable characters. Again, along with Luigi with different methods of control. This was a hacked and ROM edited game from Japan called Doki Doki Panic, just with a little bit more touches on the sprites to make them a little bit more like animated. The main characters could run, because apparently the ones in Doki Doki Panic couldn't. So imagine playing our version of Mario Brothers 2 without the ability to run, and how crappy that
would have made it harder.
Ugh. And it's just that, of course, introduced a lot of stuff that followed the game, like Luigi having his feet kind of flutter as he jumps, Princess Toadstool or Peach floating, hovering,
yep,
and then enemies like Shy Guys and Sniffets. So one of the things, of course, is, and I'm going to present this question to Astrimedes with all of his extensive decades of game dev experience. So one of while we know Super Mario Brothers 2 for the US was actually like a different game, and there was a reason, because Nintendo of America thought what Japan got was too hard. It still presented the whole idea that the second game in a continuing series was a different, it kind of takes the series in a different direction. So like Mario 2 with kind of like no timer, free movement, exploration of the stage until you find the end. Zelda 2 having, instead of like the overhead free exploration, it's kind of like an RPG, but like platform action. And then even like Final Fantasy 2 for the NES/Famicom, it totally getting rid of levels and experience. Astrimedes, why do you think it is that it's the second game of these series where they experiment like that? Like, just based on your thoughts.
I mean, I think as like the natural inclination as a developer, if you actually care about the game as a thing, is to, iterate on it in some way and change it and try to improve it. So that's one possible explanation. I don't know the story of exactly how the decisions were made with Mario 2 in the US being just, white labeled Doki Doki Panic, essentially, with, like you said, a few changes. But the kind of cynical guess I would have for something like that is based on timing. They wanted to capitalize on the Mario brand. They had this other game. They didn't feel the harder Mario, would sell in the US. They did feel something else that wasn't as hard would sell. Maybe there's some, because didn't the studio that made Doki Doki Panic close down or something? And that's how Nintendo ended up in possession of like the IP or something along those lines. Am I right on that or no?
I think the Doki Doki Panic was created based off of a television show, as like not like a limited run thing, but kind of hey, here's this show and let's create a video game based off of these characters.
Okay, yeah, I thought I'd heard though, like the separate studio making that, or maybe it was just Nintendo Studio, but in any case, it's possible. The other general answer that I suspect may apply to Mario 2 in the US could be, a pure, like a studio or company that's big enough that has a lot of games going or has possession of IPs. They already have a game ready to go. Like they do the math and they're like, oh, people really like this game we released and it's been 1 year or whatever. This is the critical timing to where if we release a sequel, people will all just buy it as long as it has those other characters and is the same IP, essentially. So that's like maybe a more cynical answer. I like to hope that the most common explanation is the first one I gave, especially because the second entry in a series, you don't really know necessarily what the series is yet. So you could actually still be kind of establishing its identity at that point. So maybe that's the most common reason you see sort of like a big diversion is the developers, are really asking themselves, like, what is this meant to be? And then maybe like pivoting in a more kind of quote unquote true direction of what they think it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and I suppose that really makes sense. It's just it's interesting that while I absolutely agree with you with trying to take advantage with the sort of motivation that the consumers were making towards the Mario brand. So like doing that with Super Mario Brothers 2, and especially the fact that around that time, there was also like a ROM chip shortage, which actually impacted the release of the next game, Super Mario Brothers 3. While we got that in 1990, February 1990, Japan had that for like a whole year and a half. They got it back in October 1988. So you got this, you have Super Mario Brothers 2, which came out. What did I say that came out in? I think that was early 1988. And then, so we get 2, but the same year Japan is getting 3. And with Super Mario Brothers 3, everything really got like upgraded, especially comparing it to the first entry, because really 3 more so was like an upgrade and an iterative move from the first Mario game. Now, as I mentioned, the ROM chip shortage was part of the reason why we didn't get that, because, you know, trying to produce the games. But one of the cool things being here in the States is one of the earliest versions of a Nintendo Direct heavily featured Super Mario Brothers 3. That, of course, is the Fred Savage classic, The Wizard. Now, just asking you guys, did you guys happen to see the Wizard at all?
Oh yeah.
Not only did I see the Wizard, I owned a Power Glove. We returned it, by the way. How that story ends.
Never had the Power Glove, but I did learn how to get the warp whistles from that movie.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, you got what you paid for on that Power Glove there, Astrimedes. You got your money back. You got what you paid for. That's a good deal.
When you said Fred Savage classic, I thought you were going to ask about Little Monsters. I forgot about.
No.
So
the Wizard.
The Wizard.
It is right around the same time, I think.
Yep.
But like,
yes.
So.
Yeah, because Wonder Years was just around that time, and he was big then. So yes,
Yeah.
I did see that movie. Now that I think about it, I'm having flashbacks of him in the one, lineup of video game arcade machines. Oh my god. Yes, okay. Yeah, I've seen it.
So what I'm hearing is it changed your life like it did mine.
Yes, absolutely.
Because me and my older brothers toured the country to try and win at these tournaments, and we picked up a teenage girl hitchhiker to beat something with truckers. I'm trying to remember the whole logistics of it, but it was really a weird story.
It was very weirdly contrived to make and he plays a video game and everyone claps at the end movie.
Why does it sound like it came from a Stephen King movie? That's what it sounds like.
Because it's rambling all over the place.
Oh, I love King, but man, can
I
you
do
ramble?
too. Agreed.
Oh man. Anyway,
I mean, if you think about it, isn't it pretty much the same thing?
Yeah.
4 boys and a girl.
Except the 3 or 4 boys don't run a train on the girl and the wizard like they do in
I was
It.
gonna say, except they beep at the end.
yeah.
Oh,
Anyway,
back to
Mario.
Speaking of running a train, when Mario Brothers 3 released, no, there are no trains, but there are tanks. There are tanks.
Yep, there were tanks.
Mario 3.
All right. This got
Anyway.
adult.
And I didn't do it.
I don't know.
No,
how it
exactly.
started.
That's the problem. You didn't do it.
It wasn't me. Ha ha
So kind of going back to what Astrimedes and I were kind of talking about, the whole Mario fever thing. Of course, that not only being the whole clever advertising campaign. Like I remember where it showed everybody in the middle of a street just cheering Mario, and the camera zooms out and it shows people forming Mario's head or something like that.
That was a Mario 3 ad, I think. Yeah.
And it's cool because that sold over 17 million copies on the original NES, which again, that's no Elden Ring for now, but for back then, that's pretty impressive. That actually is the highest non-pack-in title for the NES. And one of the things with improving upon from the first entry, Mario 3 tripled the number of unique levels, power-ups. It was 10 times the size memory-wise. Like I think the first Mario game was like 32 kilobytes, whereas Mario 3 was like 300 or 350. So, there you go. It's about the size of the little quarter of a second right now where I'm talking. That was the size of Mario 3.
About a third the size of the photo you took on your phone today.
Yes, yeah, and probably even less than that. Shoot. What's cool with
Probably
Mario
less
3
than
though,
that. Yep.
like Mario 3 probably remains one of the best, if not the best game on the NES, to at least to like millions upon millions of players. Jason the 13th, what are your thoughts on Mario 3 and what versions have you played of that? Because there's a lot of them.
Ooh, what versions? You mean like on the different systems? Oh,
Yeah,
gosh.
because there's like technically three different versions of it.
I don't know if I've ever paid attention to the difference of the versions of them. Played a ton of Mario Brothers 3 though. A ton of Mario Brothers 3, not as much of Mario Brothers 2, but out of those three was my favorite one.
And you played the NES and SNES of 3, right?
Yes.
Did you play the Game Boy Advance one?
I don't think so.
Dang, I don't know a lot of people that have played that, because that one took advantage of the e-reader, where like if you slide the cards, you can unlock like 50 brand new levels that they made just for that.
Ooh, it makes you want to go and play.
Which, by the way, if you have the Nintendo Switch and the NSO expansion pack, it contains Super Mario Brothers 3 as Super Mario Advance 4 and all 50 of those levels.
Ooh,
You don't even have to go.
I'd want to go play those extra levels.
Do it. It's essentially like getting a whole new Mario Brothers 3
right
game.
Yeah.
Oh, here we were trying and hoping he was going to go waste money on getting the old stuff.
Oh, I have half of that old stuff. I would just have to find. I even have the e-card reader. I would just have to get the cards.
Yeah, and it's cool though. Like you don't even have to do that if you've got the Switch and the expansion pack. Jamie Owls, how about you? I remember we were talking about Mario Brothers 3 a bit on our last YouTube video. What are your thoughts about that entry?
I thought it was pretty good. I remember, for me, when I first started playing, I was a little bit challenging in the beginning. But I played it so many times. But yeah, I think the only systems I ever played it on it was the NES, and now that's on the Switch.
Cool. It's funny for me, Storm. This will be a story. I don't know if your husband's gonna know or remember, but back at our Catholic school that we went to, Jason, you'll know that when you were there, 3rd and 4th grade, they had a field day or something like that, where they had a video game competition, kind of emulating the Wizard, where you had to score the most points in it. So I remember my older brother Kevin, he won it, and easily, by speeding through the first stage of Mario 3, and then there's the second stage where it automatically generates the Goombas from the pipe, and so he would just jump up to, and just right on the heads as they're generating and get to 8,000 points and jump off, and then just keep repeating that process until the 10 or 15 minutes were over, and he easily won the competition with the highest points that way. Like, leave it to my older brother to find the easiest way out to a solution, which is up to and including cheesing the final boss to Zelda 2, which supposedly is one of the hardest bosses in all of the Zelda games, but he taught me how to cheese and beat it without even getting hit in the stupidest possible way.
So, small little update. I looked at my game list that I have, and I did have Super Mario Brothers 3 on the Game Boy Advance, so I did play it. I don't think I ever used the e-card reader with it, though, to play the 50 levels, so I would definitely have to go play them on the Switch.
Nice. It's really cool with the Switch, because it has quickly become like the de facto first party Nintendo system, not only having all of the Zelda games on the NES, SNES, Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, Nintendo 64, as well as the Metroid games, all the Metroids for all those systems that I said that are available, but nearly all of the Mario games as well, up to and including the Super Mario Land titles. a quick caveat, of course, for some stupid reason, Super Mario Land 1 is not on the expansion, or not, it's the regular NSO service for the Game Boy. I don't know why it's not, but Mario Land 2 is. And that's Super Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins. That introduced one of Jason 13th's favorite Mario characters. That, of course, is Wario. So, but at the same, right around the same time, that's where Super Mario World was added. Because like Super Mario Land 2 was 1992. Super Mario World was 1991. As I mentioned, that is my favorite, and what I think probably is the best Mario game of all time. But again, due to how colorful it was, great sound, fun level design, a lot of nostalgia. Also, the first time that Yoshi was introduced, the best power up being the cape. The first time I beat a Mario game before my older brothers, haha, hee hee.
There were just a ton of mechanics in that one too. I remember it seeming just like, wow, it felt like they're really trying to like show off those 4 buttons they had on the SNES controller and the shoulder button and whatever.
Any sort of favorite memories with that, Astrimedes? Any thoughts about Mario World beyond that?
I actually didn't have a Super Nintendo. I did later play it, on emulators and on the like various other later Nintendo consoles and stuff. I remember, I guess, like when I do remember when it was new. I had a very young cousin who had it, and I saw him play it. That was the first time I actually saw it, and that was actually kind of my reaction, is just only coming from Mario 1, 2, and 3 on the NES. I was pretty kind of like impressed by just like the different kinds of jumping and this whole green dinosaur thing, and just a lot of new stuff going on. And as you said, very colorful too.
Simbu, how about you? Any love for Super Mario World, or even if you want to tell us your thoughts about Mario All-Stars?
I mean, I played them. I enjoyed them. I will say the Brick Man that showed up on my TI-89 was a godsend through high school. Brickman, of course, being a complete and utter Mario ripoff, but to the extremely pixelated point to run on the TI-89. But yes.
To be fair, that absolutely is in line with our topic, because I was just kind of mentioning the Mario Land games, and that's portable. It's a portable Mario game, of which Doom does run on a TI-88. I've seen videos of it. It's a horrendous Doom or Doom-like clone, but it does work. And just for those of you who are younger than us, we, of course, all of us grew up and went to school in the 90s and maybe even a little bit of the early aughts. So we didn't have the smartphones that we can just do whatever, play whatever. We could bring the Game Boy, but that was this big obsequious device that you really couldn't like hide or anything like that. So like just having your calculator and being able to play like Snake or Brickman or Doom or whatever was a kind of a godsend.
That was technically the first game development I did, was on a TI-81, I want to say, is the one I had. I'm that old.
The 90s
I was
was
poor
10
at the
years
time.
ago, it feels like.
You said
it
feels like 10 years ago.
Yeah. I keep thinking it's like, oh, 1990, that was 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's not.
I know. That's the
really
sad part.
not. God.
That's the sad part.
Sigh.
I agree. That's the perfect reaction. Sigh.
Sigh. The Super Mario World, not to interrupt and go back to this topic, but I'm going to. It was one of the Mario games that I beat originally. My cousin and I used to take turns because, you had one of you could be Mario, one could be Luigi, and try to dual play or whatever. We would take turns fighting levels and whatever. So I did beat that game forever ago. There you go.
And that's
about
one
10
of the,
years ago, I think.
Yes. It was about 10 years ago when, dinosaurs were still on Friday nights and TGIF had Full House brand new and Family Matters brand new, and instead of me now streaming and binging Full House because why not? Anyway, go ahead.
Not the mama.
Yeah, not the mama.
Gosh. Yeah, the whole dinosaur thing that was a whole big thing. You had, I feel like ninjas and dinosaurs, how with the late aughts had vampires and pirates. It was ninjas and dinosaurs in the early and mid 90s.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That was Jason 13th's favorite show, Dino Riders.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the vampires, Twilight. That was his favorite show.
No. I watched like every dinosaur cartoon there was.
And every Twilight movie.
No, I have
No, that's
not.
me.
That's me.
That's me.
Dinosaur Checkers, Jay. Remember those?
Yes.
Gosh. So what of course the mainline Mario series advanced to the Super Mario sequel, Yoshi's Island, focusing specifically on Yoshi and as a prequel of sorts. What was cool with that, the Super Nintendo it allowed upgrades within the cartridges themselves with stuff like the Super FX and Super FX2 chip that was in the Yoshi's Island cart in the quickly aging Super Nintendo system. Because you think it released in 91, the PlayStation released in 94, and Yoshi's Island was in 95. Still, with what Yoshi's Island did with great graphics, colors, gameplay, and everything like that, it was a great game, but in a way, kind of a stopgap until Mario 64 came out in 96. So we, of course, briefly mentioned in the pre-discussion topic, Jamie Owls had talked about how much she loved Mario 64. Jason, you were kind of talking about that as well. Storm, you played Mario 64, right?
Yes, I did.
Did you end up beating that one?
You know what? I believe so. Yes, I think with some help from you. Honestly, when you would come and spend time with us at the condo, we made it through some levels that I couldn't get through, but with your help, yes, it did end up beating that originally. So it did get that 3-pack, the one new release they did with
the Super Mario
Switch.
3D All-Stars.
Yes, I did get that for the Switch because I did love Mario 64. It was one of my favorites of the traditional Mario platform games.
So did you get it physically or digitally?
Physically. I do have a physical copy.
Good thing you did, because the physical copies had been out for like a long time, and they were kind of sitting on store shelves. Now that they're all gone and sold out, reseller sites usually have them either. I've seen it as low as like 60 to 70 to as high as 100 to 120. So if you have a physical copy of Super Mario 3D All-Stars, make sure you hold on to it, because of course Nintendo was annoying where they only offered a 6-month period to download it digitally, and where they were producing copies for distribution at physically at stores. One of the questions, and really this is open for all you guys regarding Mario 64. So when I first played Mario 64, I played for about 15 minutes. Then I had to stop because I felt nauseous. I've never had motion sickness with games before, and I used to play Doom before on the PC before Mario 64 came out. Did you guys, when you made the leap from 2D to 3D systems, like from Genesis or Super Nintendo to PlayStation and 64, did you guys ever get nausea or motion sickness when you first made that leap?
I never had nausea, but I remember just trying to get used to the camera controls. That was something I remember that was so jarring to me. But no, I never felt like I was getting sick or nauseous from seeing it or watching it.
I would have a slight adjustment issues after playing frequency or amplitude for a bit, after watching so closely where the screen is or where the dots are, and you would look away and all of a sudden it looked like your vision is still moving along with the track. I've had that happen, but not actually feeling sick.
Yeah, I never remember having any motion sickness with it at all. The most I could say that video games affected me, and for Simbu here, we'll bring up Spider-Man, is if you climb up to the top of the highest buildings and jump off, and you get the little feeling in your stomach, even though you know nothing's going to happen. That's the most I've ever experienced. Well, that I can recall playing a video game and having it affect me physically.
And the funny thing is, I've never had that since. Sorry, Simbu, did I cut you off?
See, I never had a 3D motion sickness at all because on the Genesis we got Sonic 3D. So earliest 3D gameplay was Sonic 3D for me.
So funny thing is, the exact replica of that isometric view would be Super Mario RPG for the Super Nintendo, with the caveat that the bonus stage in Sonic 3D Blast, the game you're talking about, actually has a forward moving, or maybe I could go like that, a forward moving bonus stage, and that's exactly what you're speaking to. And then I did play Sonic CD, and it also kind of has a forward moving 3D type of thing. But for some reason, I remember it vividly, Mario 64. We got the Nintendo 64, and I played it for 15 minutes. And I remember I played it with Kevin, and I'm like, dude, I gotta stop. And he's like, what's wrong? I'm like, I'm nauseous. Like, I don't know why. It got me. And that was the only time I've ever had motion sickness with gaming. Thank goodness. And I'm knocking on wood that, I'm old and not as much.
Maybe you were just under the weather that day.
I mean, the only other thing that's different about it is that was you had a camera you controlled, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And like that wasn't true of those other examples you listed. I can't see how that would make you more nauseous, because for me, as I kind of alluded to earlier, like it doesn't make me nauseous or anything, but I find it very disorienting to get around in a first person perspective in any game. So I don't tend to play those games, but like if even like a similar view, if I can control the camera, I don't so much feel like that. But yeah, I mean, the only thing I think of that's different is like you do control the camera in Mario, and that was in the early days before they were kind of trying to do automatic camera control, which is kind of interesting time for 3D games.
Yeah, and sorry, Simbu.
Just one quick thing. The other thing that could have been a potential contributor to your motion sickness, the brand of TV that you were using to play it on.
Oh, yeah, that's
as we all know, not all brands are created equal, as you see now with 60 hertz versus 75 versus 120 versus 9,000 whatever hertz it has. So, and then of course from there it varies based on whether you have a Hisense, do you have a Sony, what level of Hisense do you have? Do you have their top premier Hisense? Do you have their economy Hisense? And of course that was all true back in the day with the big box TVs as well.
And it being, of course, back in the day, in the 90s, I had a Zenith, box TV. Everybody had a Zenith, I think. At least that's what it feels like.
Oh, I couldn't tell you what we had for TV wise back then.
Pretty sure we had Zenith at some point, at least.
And Simbu brings up a really great point, because like if I was in the PAL region and I had a Sony, a PlayStation, everything was 50 hertz. We had 60 hertz here in the States. So it could have been enough of a visual difference to where like it could be jarring enough to me. And funny enough, that's one of the main reasons why the mini PlayStation 1 tanked, because for some stupid reason, when it comes to companies that I like the stuff with PlayStation and Nintendo, when they screw up, it really, really pisses me off. For some stupid reason, Sony put the PAL region ROMs in the mini PlayStation. So everybody here in the States who got the mini PS1 were playing all these 50 hertz games, and everyone's like, why does it look weird? Why does it not look right? And that's why. So
weird.
Right, exactly. So that 10 difference in hertz, equates to, could only equate to maybe a frame or a split second of a frame, but that's enough to throw you off. It's the same effect of the motion blur. Like if I quickly snap my head and let's say my eyes trail just a millisecond, that there's that jar when it goes from here to here. It's not very far, but it's a jar enough that's like, whoa. It gives you that momentary vertigo.
Our eyes will catch that, and that will mess with us. So one of the things, of course, with Mario, it's no surprise that he and the whole series has withstood the test of time, given the high pedigree and quality of all the games in the mainline series. That being said, I've never known a bad mainline Mario game, and I'm saying that with the big caveat that Mario Clash on the Virtual Boy doesn't count because technically that's supposed to be a remake of Mario Brothers for the arcade. Hotel Mario doesn't count because that was for the Philips CDI, and Nintendo themselves didn't make that. Like a mainline Mario game made by Nintendo and Nintendo Studios, I've never known a bad one. At worst, I've played a couple mid or mediocre ones. So Astrimedes, I'm going to tap your decades-long dev and Mario experience. Just kind of your general thoughts. Why do you think the mainline Mario series has always had the market in like quality and game design?
I mean, probably in some respects, it's probably like a right place at the right time thing. Nintendo being like basically one of the earliest companies to, like really get that NES console in a lot more homes, it seems like, than a lot of kind of previous generations. But I mean, like that only means so much if you don't maintain the quality, of course. And I think it's combination of like hitting the sweet spot of like kind of having a very early days character that was sort of in everyone's mind in terms of IP, and then like kind of rigorously maintaining quality standards on the series and not ever doing something that came across so badly as a cash in, and particularly not early on when it's more critical for a series like this to kind of like ruin the quality. So I would pin almost all of that on just Nintendo's sort of quality control and sort of care about their IP.
So for cash-ins, we're not talking Mario and Sonic at the Olympics and Winter Olympics and all those.
No,
well, that's I said particularly early days.
Yeah,
it was critical.
And really, we're talking about the mainline Mario games made by Nintendo. But you make a good point, Simbu, because those, of course, funny enough, those are made by Sega. Technically, those aren't made by Nintendo Studios.
It is. I will say
it does very hard
like,
here.
It does seem like in the last few years they've gotten looser with it, and it does kind of make me wonder. Looser with it meaning kind of. I feel like even whatever 10 more years ago, whatever you may not have seen Mario in anything that wasn't a direct first party Nintendo thing, and it seems like they're kind of putting the feelers out there a little more now.
And that's a good thing. I would argue that they're allowing to take more risks. Yeah, you're going to run into stuff like the Mario and Sonic at Olympic Games, when really it should be a Mario versus Sonic platform type game. I mean, come on, Nintendo, Sega, do that already.
Yeah, it's what the people want.
Then you run into other chances and risks like Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle and Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle sequel, where it's such an odd amalgamation where Ubisoft is given the Mario license, they pair it with Rayman's Raving Rabbids and produce an excellent tactical RPG game. And it makes no sense. You give Mario a gun and you pair him with some wacky rabbits and you get fantastic tactical RPG gold. But
and then you get Mario in Fortnite.
It could work. It could work if Nintendo wasn't so miserly with its licenses appearing on other systems. Again, Nintendo, I'm giving you the side eye because Samus should have been in Fortnite by now.
A long time ago. Should have been one of the first few, especially when they brought Kratos, then they brought Master Chief. I remember this, we were all talking offline, Inferno Fox, Jason, Storm, I don't think you were quite part of the group chat just yet. But Mobster as well. We're all saying like, well, we got Kratos, now we got Master Chief, Samus. Where's Samus? Because you got your 3 major systems right there.
And it turns out that Fork Knife Epic Games did have a conversation with Nintendo. Nintendo agreed to it. They said, yeah, you can have Samus and Fork Knife. The only thing is Samus can't appear on PC, mobile, Xbox, and Sony systems. As long as Samus is there on the Switch, that's fine. But it's going to show like a generic character for everybody else on every other system.
You have like a Soul Calibur system then with the individual per platform exclusive characters.
Rocket League.
Yeah, I was just going to say the same thing. Rocket League.
Right, Rocket League. If you play it on Xbox, you get the Warthog. If I'm playing on the PlayStation, I get Sweet Tooth. If I'm playing on Nintendo, I get a Mario and Luigi looking card.
Oh, okay. I didn't even realize actually that was a thing in Rocket League.
Here's the caveat to it. If Mobster is playing on his Xbox and I'm teamed up with him from my PlayStation, his car looks like a generic car. It doesn't look like a Warthog.
Same thing with the Sweet Tooth and the Mario cars. They did it where it's system specific on each one of them.
Yep. And at least if it goes on any other, it just shows a generic Octane.
And I guess we should be grateful we have crossplay to begin with, but it's like you'd almost wish that they'd all be able to play ball and do. It doesn't matter. Microsoft's going to own them all in 10 years anyway.
It is looking that way.
At least we can say we've had some good Mario games for the last 35. Well, shoot, 40, 35 plus years, 40 years if you include the Donkey Kong age. So, but yeah, that's I am super excited with Super Mario Brothers Wonder coming out on Friday. Jamie Ells and I are going to be playing that. I think Jamie Ells, you're still deciding between being Daisy and Yoshi, right? Green Yoshi.
Yeah, because when we did the demo at GameStop, I just tried out as Yoshi, but I think when we played together, I want to try playing as Daisy so I could use some of the power-ups.
Yeah, because it's cool where there's 12 selectable characters with Yoshi's having their flutter jump. They can't die in that if they get hit by enemies, they're invulnerable, which is actually how they are in Super Mario World 2.
Yes.
But they can't pick up power-ups. They pick them up, it goes into the reserve because there's just like Super Mario World 1, there's a reserve. But when I was playing as Luigi, because obviously I'm gonna play as Luigi, no surprise to anybody. He of course can transform into elephant, his elephant Luigi form and everything else. It's going to be a lot of fun. But I just want to take a quick moment here to say thank you to my wonderful cast and crew as we were waxing nostalgic about the fantastic Super Mario series. Again, quick shout outs. We of course had Jamie Owls, my partner and partner in crime. You can catch her on our latest Inferno Fox Gaming video here on YouTube, where we discussed which 2D Mario is the best, and the correct answer is Super Mario World. Jamie Owls, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure.
And Jason the 13th at YouTube channel Jason the 13th. You got any content coming anytime soon on that?
I need to do the DLC for the Pokemon. I really do. And I need to get back to Tears of the Kingdom. I just have not had time with my work schedule right now.
Here you are. You're busy having a life. How dare you?
Yeah, I know.
Video games.
I know. I need to do the DLC, though. I haven't hardly touched it at all.
Look at you out there touching grass.
Yeah, yep.
Stormrosesky of Twitch and YouTube channels Stormrosesky. Storm, thank you so much for joining us. Did you have fun talking Mario with us?
I did. I did enjoy it. I'm looking forward to it. And I'm also going to throw in a plug for if you're looking for a book of poems and photos, you want to check out Portraits of the Phrase. I will post the link in your comments because on top of all those other things, I like to write and take photos. So this book's available on Amazon.
Oh,
Yeah.
There you go.
Nice.
Yes, and Storm has been writing for decades now. I definitely recommend checking out her writings and musings.
Yes.
And then of course next up we have Astrimedes, developer and co-owner of Second Place Games and victim and being mauled by a vicious panther. Astrimedes, glad that you're still in one piece, and thank you again for joining us.
For having me. I survived the mauling this time, and pardon the live orchestra in the background if you pick that up at any point.
Next time you won't be so safe. I'm expecting a half mauled face Halloween style for our for next week's topic.
We'll see. It looks cute, but he's actually being a jerk, harassing me for things.
And last but definitely not least, Simbu Darkfang, main actor at Basement of the Dead, located in Aurora, Illinois, and the best fork knife player. Don't fight me on this. Simbu Darkfang. Simbu, thank you so much for joining us.
I'll fight you on it.
1v1, bro. 1v1. No, always a pleasure, even though I was lied to and told this was going to be the Spider-Man celebratory podcast. Inferno Fox doing some really underhanded stuff here in the group chat offline.
Overhand. You got to throw overhand. If you do it underhand, you just throwing like a grandma. You get
okay. Overhand. So, all right. So Inferno Fox over here doing a bunch of mauve-handed stuff. All right.
How else are we supposed to get a PlayStation fanboy into a Nintendo podcast?
Hey, I'm gonna let you finish. But PlayStation is the best of all time.
Those are fighting words.
Oh, thanks, Kanye.
Well, if anybody wants to fight, go ahead and fight Inferno Fox. He's already
meet out in the playground.
I'm gonna beat you in Nintendo
by the swings after school.
And of course, thanks again to you, the listener, for joining us as we ranted and raved about everything Mario and everything else not about it. So again, make sure you catch us for next Tuesday's podcast. Given the time and the season, it will be very scary. That's all that I will say. No, we will us guys will not have our shirts off. It will be Halloween themed, so make sure you catch
come
that.
on. Well, I'm not going to be here now.
Okay, well, I'll just turn your video off. I think I have control on.
Please keep your shirt on.
I think I can do that. Nope.
Close.
Oh, darn it! Spoiled again.